What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video. Or in this one, we're obviously going to be recapping the Colts draft. Busy last couple days. Sorry, haven't been able to get to you about the draft and what's been going on. But overall, I'm very satisfied with what happened. Obviously, we already talked about Tyler Warren and getting him in the first round. Obviously, incredible, right? Somebody who in 2024 for Penn State had 104 catches, 1,233 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Okay, starting the draft off with Tyler Warren, like with the way this offseason has gone, boom, we get the guy we've always wanted throughout this offseason. And now we get a guy that's going to immensely change the offense. I mean, just immensely change the offense and how we operate. And I'm just sitting here imagining, what Jelani Woods is able to actually stay healthy. Can he have some sort of impact in this offense as well with Tyler Warren? The two tight end sets that we can run in this offense is going to be incredible. So getting Tyler Warren is great. Again, enjoyed the rest of the draft. And of course, if you enjoy the content, make sure to hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe with notifications on so you continue to get notified. I want to deep dive more into these guys, but really just going over the draft. Some of the things that I've seen over the last couple days since the draft happened, and just kind of looking at these guys. Obviously, Tyler Warren, we know all about him, his size, his versatility as a blocker, as a pass catcher, the things he's going to be able to do and the ways he's going to be able to line up in the offense. He's going to be able to do different things. I think Shane Steichen kind of already tipped his hat at the fact that they're going to have Tyler Warren doing different things, specifically near the goal line and those formations that Steichen likes to run. Tyler Warren is going to be a heavy candidate to be able to get the ball in some of those situations. So very, very excited about getting Tyler Warren, just as many Colts fans are. Bears shocked the world, for the most part, and end up going with Colston Loveland, and we get Tyler Warren. So looking forward, what else did we do in the draft? Well, in the second round, we go get JTT. Don't at the moment remember, I think JT Tuamalo? No, that's not it. No, I'm going to have to go back and see how he said it. He said it during his introductory media session. Says how to say his name. But big guy, 6'4", 265. Somebody that on the opposite side a lot to these guys, like for the future of edge rushers. Like with Lou Anarumo in the building, he kind of has his Sam Hubbard, Trey Hendrickson, right? What he was able to do with those guys, and of course, we now have the depth, right? Samson coming back off of the Achilles, somebody that I continue to forget about, but I continue to see different things about him. Stuff like this happens, right? We get drafted an edge rusher, and now you remember, hey, we got Samson on the roster. We have Quiddy on his 5th-year option, so we're gonna have him this year. And obviously, Tyquan Lewis is part of that. And obviously, he's a depth piece, and he's somebody who typically will miss a few games anyways. So having depth is nice. Having the future of what that position is going to be is great. And what are we going to do? Obviously, in the future, hopefully we have enough success that, paying people is a problem, right? Paying people to stay and want to stay and win and be successful. Hopefully we're in that position. But somebody that, as I've looked into him and as I've seen other things said about him, somebody that is might not, there's going to be a developmental curve for him. He's not going to come in, at least I don't expect him to come in and right away get the NFL game, but I do think that by the end of the season he's going to be a problem. And I think going forward, again, our edge rushers, for what we could have in the future, this could be very exciting. I think having JT and having Latu together, it could be really, really exciting. Obviously, having DeForest Buckner on the defensive line also, so we're loading up on ooses. And I'm all for it. Getting an edge rusher in the second round, not really where I thought we would go, but something that a lot of people were talking about. Hey, we're going to need another edge rusher in this draft, and that's exactly what the Colts go do. Now, the next one is one that did shock a lot of people. Justin Wally, cornerback out of Minnesota. And this is a guy that, just as you go through and look at, obviously, really the only things you're finding about Justin Wally are going to be like highlight type stuff. But just trying to look at like his technique through the highlights, like even though yes they are good plays, and just looking at some of the things that he's able to do well, somebody that in the future could take over for Kenny Moore. Now, what's the plan with him? How long is he going to want to play? That's going to be a big question. And what's going to happen with Justin Wally, obviously being cornerback depth now, and the fact that you bring him in the third round, and the because you brought him in so early. I think I saw that he was like the 194th ranked guy, right? I don't know who's big. I think maybe Daniel Jeremiah, big board, and but like consensus, what I'd seen was that it was like a large consensus that he was down in that range. But Chris Ballard was very confident in this. He came out in the press conference after day 2 and said that they do a lot of homework and they're not worried about where other people rank them. They have their different ranks, their different grades for guys coming into the draft, and they feel good about Justin Wally and what he's able to do. And the reason I have faith in it is because of Kenny Moore, right? The success that Kenny Moore had, guy out of Valdosta State, goes to the Patriots, gets dropped, ends up with the Colts, like gets paid before he really even does anything. And having that faith in Kenny, and Kenny working hard to continue to develop and get better, made him the best nickel in the league. And so when you look at Justin Wally, the future bright for a young kid that has a lot of potential coming out of, I believe, Minnesota is what it was. So again, really excited to get him. Really fast, 4.4 speed. So really enjoy the potential of what we're getting with him. Now, as we go forward here in the 4th round, taking an absolute monster on the offensive line, taking actually a tackle from Iowa State, Jalen Travis, 6'8", 339 is what he's listed at on NFL.com. And in the press conference after the draft, Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard, I think it was actually Shane Steichen talking about how was kind of asked, getting Jalen Travis, like, what does that do with Mac-Savez and what's the situation? And it sounds like there is a chance Mac-Savez could be playing in that right guard spot, and that's why they go out and get a tackle. But if I'm not mistaken, Jalen Travis also a left tackle. These always just say offensive tackle, but pretty sure he was a left tackle. Actually, as sitting here looking at it, in 2022 at Princeton, he started 10 games at right tackle. And then in 2024, played in 12 games with starts in the final 11, and he played it at left tackle. So a little bit of both, actually. So left tackle, right tackle, but having that flexibility is nice. And then again, Mac-Savez could end up being our right guard. We'll see what we do. We've already talked about the possibility of getting Brandon Scherf, and I think that could still be an option for us at some point in this offseason, as long as Brandon Scherf is trying to play football still. So we'll see what happens there. Now, the next couple I'm kind of proud about because I've mocked running back DJ Giddens to the Colts in the 5th round in our final mock. I've also mocked Riley Leonard to the Colts twice. And those end up being our next 2 picks. DJ Giddens, somebody that has pass catching prowess out of the backfield, somebody that can be a strong runner. He's 6 foot 212. He can move though. Like DJ Giddens, he runs a 4.43. Like this is somebody that like I was talking about in the last mock draft video, like very exciting what he could provide in the future, him and JT as a tandem. And this year we get, obviously Khalil Herbert mixed in. So nice little trio here coming into the season. I think this is going to be actually a very valuable 5th round pick. This is like one of the, from what I've seen, like one of the consensus best picks in the draft is going and getting, just like Wally in the 3rd round, one of the, a lot of people, one of the worst picks in this draft is what a lot of people are thinking, but we'll see how that pans out. DJ Giddens, in the 5th round for the Colts. Really good pick. Really happy we were able to land him. Just when I started looking into him, it was really just about, in that particular mock, it was these are the options and this is what I think we should do. I don't want to wait any longer to get a running back. So I started looking into guys. Hey, who are these? Because I'm not a big college guy. Who are these guys? What are they capable of? What do other people say about them? Like people that know about them, what do they say about them? And so looking into them, again, really happy with DJ Giddens and Riley Leonard. One of the things that excites me about him, like he right up and down college career, little inconsistent as a quarterback, but goes to Notre Dame and takes Notre Dame to a national championship. Somewhere they've struggled for a while, man. And they've had good teams, but for a large portion of the last decade or more, they've really struggled. And he was able to take them to a national championship, and had to play buzzsaw in Ohio State, but nonetheless. Riley Leonard, exciting prospect, getting him 6th round, the 13th pick in the 6th round, and somebody that I watched all the Gruden quarterback camps. There was actually, I think, really only one that I thought lost value. There were a couple I was impressed with, though. And one, I'm trying not to go too far, into one side. Kyle McCord wins everywhere he goes. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. He went to Eagles, so we'll see what happens. But Riley Leonard, somebody that I was really impressed with. Obviously, watching the Gruden QB camp, it's really more about the mental, and then that's what I really like. I like his ability to recall, his ability to retain information, and how quickly he's able to retain that information and be able to regurgitate it, and how active he is. And how he was able to buy into what he was doing with John Gruden. I was just really impressed with him. Well, I was impressed with Will Howard as well. So that could end up being pretty good for the Steelers in the future. We'll see what happens there. But Riley Leonard, adding him to that quarterback competition, now having him, Jason Bean, behind Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. And once again, I hope I'm able to get up to watch training camp. That is going to be electric. As we continue to add talent, continue to add more competition on this roster. Training camp this year is going to be ridiculous to watch. And I can't wait, man. I even saw and agreed. I think it was, I want to say it was Nate Atkins. No. Maybe it was Lawrence. I can't remember. One of the Colts guys said that this was the best Colts team since the Manning era. Like overall, the best Colts team since the Manning era. And I'd have to agree. Like overall, this is an incredible roster. You have to, somebody at the quarterback position has to step up. And if we can get that to happen, I think we can win a lot of games. I think somebody that can help us in that regard is actually going to be Tim Smith. And the reason I have faith in this is because of what I heard Ballard talking about. Tim Smith, Alabama defensive tackle, 6'4", 302, a big body guy, somebody who, not the most athletic guy in the world, but a guy that, again, went to Alabama, spent some time being coached by Saban. This is a guy that the coaching staff got their hands on in the Senior Bowl or the Shrine Bowl or one of those, whichever he ended up playing in. And they were able, some of the guys from the Colts staff coached him and got their hands on him, saw the potential that he had, and thought that he was somebody really underrated. And they were able to end up snagging him. And they were actually talking about how, like, when the picks were coming up, the Colts picked back to back in the 6th round, pick 13 and 14 in the 6th round, and Chris Ballard talked about how when those picks were coming up, people were starting to get giddy about, hey, Tim Smith is here, so they end up going and getting him. So we'll see what he can do from the interior of that defensive line. They say he can play the 1 tech or the 3 tech. So having that versatility is nice, and we had to add somebody. A lot of defensive tackles in this draft. We had to add somebody at defensive tackle, and we wait till 6th round to do it. And then in the 7th round, we draft somebody listed as a linebacker, Hunter Wohler, Hunter Wohler, probably how you say that, maybe how you say that, who knows? Waller, maybe Wohler. But drafting Hunter, Wisconsin linebacker, 6'2", 213. Again, in that size, a little smaller for a linebacker, but Chris Ballard talked about how he has a little bit of versatility and compared him to Reed Sorensen, who Chris Ballard was a part of Kansas City when they got Reed. And Reed Sorensen, a little bit of a tweener linebacker safety, but played safety for them. So Chris Ballard said he will do multiple things. He will do linebacker. He will do safety, but he also talked about we're going to be playing, because it's Lou Anarumo, we're going to have more dime looks. We're only going to have 2 linebackers on the field, so he could play more of a like in the box safety, but he is a linebacker, or somebody who is rangy, somebody who is able to cover a little more ground. 4.57 as listed as a linebacker, so it's not moving like a DB, but definitely moving for a linebacker. So somebody who I think is really interesting. I think a little bit bigger of a Grant Stewart is kind of what I think of, and but does he have that sort of tenacity? Grant Stewart has some tenacity. He was a dog, so we'll see what does Hunter provide as he comes in. Will all of these rookies make the team? Will half of these rookies make the team? It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Again, this is going to be a really competitive training camp, and getting to the point where you have to cut down the roster and figure things out. I think this draft class, like just on paper, honestly could be one of Chris Ballard's better draft classes. I mean, 1st round, 2nd round, in the future, 3rd round could pay off. In the future, 4th round could pay off. 5th round with DJ Giddens. We'll see what happens with Riley Leonard, but Tim Smith has some potential. And then Hunter, being kind of a tweener, I'm kind of excited to see what his role could end up being, and what he could possibly provide to the defense. Really excited to just really see how the defense shifts, right? We've had a lot of the same guys on the defense for so long. How does the defense shift with a new coordinator, and how do things change? I've always talked about, man, we got so much talent. Why is this defense not good? And it had to boil down to Gus Bradley, because I really believe we have the talent to be a really good defense. So we'll see what happens this upcoming season, man. You let me know your thoughts on this draft from round 1 to round 7. How are you feeling about this draft? How do you feel this draft is going to help the Colts in 2025? You let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you guys. And of course, make sure you hit the like button if you enjoy the content, and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you continue to get notified anytime we drop any content on this channel. Of course, appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.